Welcome, everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is episode number 44 of the full set. My name is Didi Delgado, and I am here with my esteemed colleague, Tanya Faison. Tanya, welcome to the full set. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm not good. And so we're gonna check in after I introduce you about what being good means, like to organizers, right? I want to apologize, but not really, to my listeners and viewers, because they're gonna understand hopefully by the end of the show why we was this late. Um, and we're gonna have to move on from there. So there's like no time to process half the shit that happens because it's like by the minute, every minute, you know? So in you of all people as an organizer for Black Lives Matter Sacramento, I feel like you would know what I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
So if it's okay with you, I'm just gonna introduce you because that's what I'd like to do. So folks. So Tanya Faison is the founder of Black Lives Matter Sacramento, a grassroots organizer, a frequent media commentator, a known figure in the streets, as well as among local politicians. Despite her accolades, she remains radical, ungovernable, and consistently centering the most marginalized of Black people in her constant fight for Black liberation. She is an expert in local government and law enforcement. She fights for those forces to be held accountable. Tanya created Sacramento's Abolish and Rebuild, which works to create alternatives to law enforcement. She's also the founder of Allies of Black Lives Matter Sacramento, in which she leads non-Black allies in their work to decolonize their own white supremacy and to show up for Black liberation. Tanya has organized and led actions with hundreds of attendees. Tanya is and will always be an abolitionist, but working within existing systems is also necessary for Black liberation, and Tanya has accomplished so much in this field. She has contributed to Sacramento law enforcement wearing mandatory body cameras and releasing the footage to the public within a time limit, to Sheriff Scott Jones losing his congressional bid, and to stopping Scott Jones from dismantling the position of Inspector General, a position appointed to oversee his department when the inspector's findings did not agree with him. Tanya is a fierce leader who always chooses the path of resistance with a flair for organizing and public engagement. If y'all don't give it up for fucking Tanya Faison, I don't know what to tell you. Tanya, welcome to the full set.
Thank you. I'm so honored to be here with you because you're the shit as well. You're for real the shit.
Thank you so much for saying that. I want to ask you, because I like to sandwich things, if that's okay. You know, it's a tense time right now. The conversation that happened before this is tense. Everything is tense. Everything's so tense. Niggas need to breathe, but we can't breathe, you know? And so I guess my question to you is, how are you doing really outside of your okay?
So when I say I'm okay, that means I'm alive. I'm in a safe place right now. I'm in this exact moment, not, all the time, but I'm happy. And I feel powerful right now. And so that feels good. That's why we do this work, so that we can be empowered and get free. But I am overwhelmed. I'm extremely exhausted. I've been working nonstop, like every minute of the day. We don't have no schedule. I usually have really good boundaries, but lately I have to stay on top of what's coming at me, because if I don't, it's going to be too big to deal with. So we're getting like, at least I wake up to like maybe between 300 and 400 emails every day, as well as lots of phone calls, lots of messages on Instagram that I'm trying to keep up with. A lot of people asking stupid questions, and a lot of people asking really good questions, and a lot of people offering really good resources to us, and I can't keep up with them. So yeah, I'm pretty overwhelmed right now, but I'm working on it.
Thank you for sharing that with me. I feel like even my show manager is texting me to cheer up. It's not that easy. I'm not Oprah, I haven't amassed enough wealth to act as if shit on the outside doesn't bother me. So there's that. I'm wondering, there's something I'm working on and I didn't get to tell you about it because you and I haven't spoken since we booked the show, is would it be helpful for you to be able to direct people that are so fresh to this or people who are getting re-energized, direct them to someone else temporarily for like training so that way you don't have to be the person on the front line? Would it be helpful to like reaffirm who you are and who you know yourself to be by getting a train the trainer training so that way you're like certified by like real niggas out here doing this shit just like you? And what does it look like when we hold each other up in that space? Like, what do you need on the ground aside from money? And for those who are joining, Tanya's Cash App and PayPal and Venmo are the pinned comments. Y'all have no excuse. This woman is amazing, and we're gonna find out why. What you need on the front lines besides money?
Protective gear. We need protective gear. We need people. We need bodies. We always need bodies. There's a lot of people that have shown interest. I haven't had the time to like mobilize them. And so it's just right now, it's just a matter of time to do what we got to do to get what we need. Unfortunately, like when you need help with time, you need time to be able to delegate that help in the way that it needs to be done. So I've been trying to dedicate a day to this, and I think today is the day that I'm going to be talking to some folks about helping out with emails and stuff. But I would love to just meet the person that I'm passing my baton to. You know what I mean? Like I would love to meet that person and get them started because I'm 45 years old, so, but I'm moving like I'm 25. So, but yeah, I need that.
No, I appreciate that. And as I told you, I'm gonna eat an edible because this is just a lot. Okay. So shout out to Ladies Who Infuse, which is one of my sponsors, my only sponsor at this point. These peanut butter fucking THC infused goodness. I hope it brings some relaxation to the both of us, bitch. I really do.
I'm gonna hit mine tonight. I haven't smoked since all this, everything started happening. I have not smoked. I've been forgetting to smoke. Like that's how it's off the hook. But I've been falling out when I go to sleep. I sleep real heavy at night
because you're using all your energy.
Right.
So yeah, basically I got together with the Blackout Collective who helped me and Monica with the 2017 Fight Supremacy March. And we're offering that training. So if you want to connect with me afterwards, it's free to Black organizers. White people need to pay. Sorry. But I think that might help you corral some of your folks. So that way they're getting the understanding and they can do what they need to do while you're doing what you do without having to have that burden. And also, if there is a white person watching that follows me, please inbox me so I can connect you with Tanya because she needs some administrative support right now. It's not right that she's doing everything on her own. So what's going on the ground? Sacramento, bitch, y'all have a lot of stuff going on all the time.
All the time. Sacramento is, and I didn't even know this when I started doing this work. Originally I started doing this work because I wanted to be helpful to people in other cities and other states. I wanted to, amplify the deaths in other places like, that we hear about, like Mike Brown. It was around the time that Mike Brown was killed that we started doing the work, August of 2014. I started Insight, and then a year later, we became Black Lives Matter Sacramento. And since then, when we became BLM is when I found out, it's happening in Sacramento and it's happening on a regular basis. We've been fighting for about 14 people that have been killed and then a whole bunch more that have been terrorized. And in 2018, we had 5 deaths by law enforcement and 4 of them were Black people. And one of them, which was really well known, was Stephon Clark. And after him, 3 more people died that were Black. And they didn't get amplified like he did.
I was about to say, I didn't hear about them.
Yeah, it was
at all.
Brandon Smith and Daryl Richards and Marshall Miles were killed in 2018. And then we got a Black chief in 2018 as well. I felt sorry for him at first because he was going to be the Black face that
right.
represented
that figurehead.
But he ended up being a little bit arrogant, so I don't feel sorry for him anymore. But in 2019, we had no deaths by SAC PD. We did by SAC Sheriff, but none by SAC PD. Since 2018, we haven't had any deaths. And so we take credit for that because we gave them hell in 2018. So, but
Yeah,
yeah,
y'all was turning up. Y'all was definitely in the streets.
for a year, we were at the DAs every day.
Like y'all was shutting niggas down.
Yeah, we shut down the wedding of, not shut down, but we interrupted the wedding of the guy, one of the officers, the Black officer that killed Stephon Clark. He wasn't expecting that.
Good.
We've done a lot of stuff, but now it's just this moment, even though we haven't had any deaths in over a year, this moment, it's just reignited everything.
Is opening that wound.
And the city is turning up. The city is turning up a lot harder than they did for Stephon even. Like, everybody's been out. We've had so many, and it's beautiful because now we're not the only organization fighting this in SAC.
Right.
We were. So every day is something that we held, but now we're being able to split it up amongst other groups, and that gives us a break in between our actions. But yeah.
So what do you think that the end game is here for us? You know, not just as a BLM organizer, but you grassroots before grassroots was grass, bitch. Like, you know what I'm saying? So what does it look like? What is the end goal for us? What would it be like for you to stop organizing? Like what mile markers would you have had to reach?
If we had community, if we were able to rely on our community instead of relying on the state for anything, I would be like, finally, that would be my moment. I don't want the police around anymore. I know everybody's on that bandwagon now to defund them. And that's really great. I'm not unhappy with that, but I'm like, let's get rid of them. Let's just do it all the way. And I'm glad everybody's is talking about it now. People are learning now. They're being forced to listen and learn about stuff now. So
thank you so much for that. You know, you had mentioned Stephon Clark before, you know, and there was commentary about, like, it seems like every single Black man, and not just Black men, clearly the Black women that have died at state-sanctioned violence by police and just militarized persons overall in general. And a lot of the commentary that comes from is like who they were as a person, or even like with Corinne Gaines, like, oh, she should have just kept her mouth closed, or Sandra Bland mouthed off, or, you know, Rekia Boyd must have looked threatening. When we talk about Stephon Clark, we know that he's an extremely flawed individual and has made some tweets disparaging Black women. So how do you as a Black woman approach and organize at the forefront? Is there any reason to fight for Stephon, or is it not our fight, or is it both?
I think we should fight for him. I know that when I was 22, I said stupid things and I believed stupid things, and I didn't know I had anti-Blackness in me. You know what I mean? Like there was things that I had to learn and grow out of it. If I was 22 when I got killed, then I wouldn't, if I got killed when I was 22, I wouldn't have been able to grow into who I am now. So I think that we should be fighting for our siblings and holding our people. We hold our people and they make mistakes, and we all make mistakes, and then we learn from them. So I believe in that. I believe in taking time to hold space for our people.
Okay. I met you in 2016, and it was at a Black Lives Matter convening, and you had on a shirt, and I'll never forget this shirt. That's how I always remember you. And I'd be like, Tanya with the thick thighs. Yeah. You had a shirt that said "Thick Thighs Save Lives." I was like, yes, where'd you get the shirt from? It was amazing being in that space. The organizers were organizing, and it was amazing to be in that space. I had a show at Future, and they definitely was like, you know, there were some mistakes that was made. So I thought that was big of them. Like, you know what I'm saying? So I appreciate that. But I remember the first time meeting you, it was at a party in upstate New York's hotel room. Like, you know what I'm saying? Them niggas are just always throwing parties. Mm-hmm. And I was just like, yo, you're a real cool ass person. And so ever since then, I've kept in contact with you. How would you have said that both of us have changed since initially meeting each other in 2016?
There's been a lot of change.
You wasn't expecting that one, was you, bitch?
I've gotten smarter. I've learned a lot about this work, and I've learned a lot about activism and people in activism and the trials and tribulations of activism. I think you've grown a lot, but
you think I've grown?
Yes.
What? Thank you. I like to hear it.
Like, look at everything you're doing now. Like, you just, you've bubbled. You've bubbled for real. Like, you're doing different things now, and you found your niche. I think this is your niche. You found it, and you're good at it. And so that's what I see in you. And then you got so much knowledge that you kick down to people. And I always have, I look up to you, for real, for real.
Yes. Bitch, I look up to you. Look at us, looking up. We just looking up. You understand what I'm saying? We don't even know what the fuck we looking at, because I'm looking up at you and you looking up at me. We looking up at something else.
So who are we really looking at? But nah. Nah, but yeah, I've learned a lot in this work, like a lot. I've had a lot of experiences. I've had the biggest heartbreaks in this work, and I've had the most realist moments and made the best friendships and made the best relationships. Like, it's just, I feel like, and this is where I'm supposed to be. Like, I'm not supposed to be anywhere else, no matter what. Like, even if I'm broke, you know what I mean? Like, for the rest of my life, this is where I'm supposed to be. This is what I'm meant to be doing. And I think everything that I went through in my life before this moment has brought me to this moment to be doing what this is. So I don't know.
Did you eat today?
When we talked earlier, I just ate, and yeah, don't ask me what I ate, please.
What'd you eat?
I had the most ghettoest meal, but I've been craving it for like 2 days. I had crushed Doritos with taco meat on top of them, and sour cream and salsa and cheese. They were hella good.
As a bitch whose mama is half Mexican, I'm appalled.
So
that is some Sacramento shit.
My ex taught me that shit. He calls it a taco salad.
I hate it here. Speaking of food, I've been wanting to ask you a question for quite some time, because I think you're such an interesting person that I just need to know. It's been burning my mind for a minute. How the fuck do you take your coffee?
Ooh, I used to drink. Can I tell you what I used to drink and I had to quit?
Yeah, go ahead.
I used to have 5 shots of espresso every day with peppermint flavor and cinnamon. And now I got the flu one year, and I didn't eat for 11 days, and I detoxed myself from that coffee. So I stopped drinking coffee for a year, and then I needed to start drinking coffee again. So now I just have regular coffee, but I have milk in it, and I have sweetener in it, and I have cinnamon in it, and they shake it so it tastes like cinnamon coffee. Yeah, I'm a coffee person.
That's the wrong question. As a Black Lives Matter organizer, you were supposed to say you drink your shit black, bitch. Come on now, do better. Do better.
Don't get me started. But I do put cream in my coffee, but that's the only thing that I put cream in. So yeah.
Okay, no, I hear you. No, I'm fucking with you. I'll have a 5 creams, 5 sugars, medium iced coffee. Thank you. And when they give me a large, because they think I'm a big bitch, and they give me a large, I'm like, that is not even the same taste, fam. You gotta take this shit back. So
right.
Thank you for that. A question came in from Twitter. Because people are petty, and so we have to cater to the audience. I hope that the person who asked this question throws $25 in your Venmo, your PayPal, or your Cash App. Your voice sounds like that of a young child. When bill collectors call you, do you tell them that your mom's not home?
Bill collectors don't call me.
This bitch was like, ma'am, you mind your business.
Yeah, right. Like, they don't call me. I'm sorry. I don't have any past due bills right now. So
no, that's great. That's great. I see, we sitting over here bigging each other up, which is great. And I actually value you so much. I need to stop being a political pit bull though. Like, you know what I'm saying? I have a bad habit of when somebody, I see someone hurting somebody I care about and love, I'd be like, all aboard, and I tell all my followers to come on a petty train. So, and they never do unless I'm right, but I'm usually right. So because I see you as a leader, and so do so many others, but leaders are often liabilities because we're imperfect and mortal. Fred Hampton said, you can kill the revolutionary, but you can't kill the revolution. So how do you navigate that space of a leader who doesn't want the movement to hinge on your ability to lead?
Oh my God, that's a loaded question.
Gang.
How do you navigate? Say that again.
Yep. How do you navigate the space of being a leader who doesn't want the movement to hinge on your ability to lead? You said to me in the very beginning of this broadcast, I like to say broadcast, but I'm trying to manifest it, some syndication, okay? You said to me that you are waiting for the person you can pass the baton on to, right?
Yeah.
And no one understands that more than me. I have a right foot that is swollen as we speak. I should be laying my ass down somewhere. And so if you are the type of person who knows that it's important for you to share the workload, right? And for you to be like, nah, someone else needs to come and do this. I'm tired. Like, you know what I'm saying? How do you make sure that that can happen and be like, well, y'all can still do the work. You ain't got to wait on me just because I'm a charismatic leader. Can y'all pick up something? Like is it possible to encourage other people to do the work?
I mean, that's how I do it. Like you just said, I'm very blunt and direct.
Which is fine.
Yeah, I tell people what needs to happen. If they're committing to the work, then I'll tell them like, this is what we need to do. This is how it needs to be. If people want to do it a different way, they can. You know what I mean? I feel really strongly about being honest and being very like direct with people. I don't know. I feel like leadership, that's what it should be like, that we should just be telling people what we need and telling people what needs to happen on the ground and giving them whatever resources that they need so that they could build whatever they need to build themselves so that they could do this work effectively. I mean, that's the most that I could think of that I would do in that moment. I mean, for that, like, that's what, just provide people whatever it is that they need if I can provide it.
So I have to thank you for saying that, but I also have to address something that's really bothering me.
Okay.
I'm seeing the comments. And the reason why I have to address that is bothering me because I want you to feel it's important to me for you not to feel discarded or put away. And so some of the comments, one is from Jay Ama and the other one is from Dee Dee Lockett. And I'm not sure if they're comparing or whatever. I'm trying to understand, but I'm also trying to host the show. And so I'm being told to ask you about certain things. But before I ask you about certain things, I want to be very clear about something. Although I have a platform in which I could very much potentially do a lot of harm and damage to a lot of people who feel certain ways about me, I don't use my platform as such. A lot of people I do feel like deserve what's coming to them, if it comes to them, when it comes to them. But I actually don't have the space and time. Something that Daisy October had said to me, and if you don't follow her, she's out in LA. She's a hoodoo woman. I would encourage you that if you want a different spiritual path, or even if you're on your own spiritual path and just want some like sounding resilient, what the slaves passed down to their grandchildren kind of wisdom, Daisy would definitely be the person to talk to. And she said something to me that I actually am never going to forget. She was like, whether you do something wrong or not, if people have the bandwidth to leave you at what you did wrong, those is not your community. Them was never niggas that was trying to hold you accountable. Them was niggas that was hating. Right. And people I'm be very clear. I know I'm getting texts like, don't say that. I want to be very clear that I'm going to give you the opportunity and space to talk about whatever it is you want to talk about. Mm-hmm. I'm being asked by other Black folks to ask you what they think I should talk to you about. And I feel like people have done that. I think that's my pushback. People have done that on their own time. I've seen it happening to you for over a year now. That these same individuals that I recognize the names, don't know these niggas and don't know they work, but I recognize the names. It's the same people over and over again, holding you to a standard that they themselves could not be held to. You understand what I'm saying? And I don't care if I lose followers behind it. I really don't. I have never felt no type stronger than I feel now. You are not the sum of your worst mistake. Niggas is asking me right now in my fucking comments about Black liberation, but are coming here demanding justice from a Black woman when white supremacy is out here running rampant. Miss me with that shit. And with that said, I'm gonna plant my feet to the ground. And if people feel some type of way, like I said, I'm hyphy already. Someone who I love dearly, has accused me of fraud, has accused me of being unstable, has accused me of all the things. And I still love her. Don't get me wrong. I understand the duality of why she would do something like that, right? Came into my home and said she wanted to talk to me. Not came to the threshold. Nigga, I was on the toilet and was like, I need to talk to you right now. And so I feel like there's always room for reconciliation, because if I could forgive that erroneous motherfucking shit that just happened, that's why we was late. So just to clear the air about why I was late was because people who have been trying to hold me accountable without being in community with me, when really it's a wound that hadn't been met for them. You understand what I'm saying? Finally, like, came out and was like, we need to talk. And I really feel like the talking is important, because if not, it's a lot of conjecture. It's a lot of, you did this. Okay, bitch. And if I did do it, what's the next step? Y'all niggas love to talk about y'all abolitionists and literally hold Black women in cages. So whoever that is commenting on my, I can't even look at my fucking phone right now. That's how tight I am. Whoever is commenting on my status, please do not even follow my page. I'm not here to hold Black women accountable. If that's your work, if that's what you want to do, then do that. But not on my watch, not on my time, because I'll block you and have no fucking problems about it. Boom. So I am asking you to breathe with me, because I need to fucking breathe. That shit is never gonna fly. I'm solidarity with Black women over anything. If you was grifting, if you was sucking 5 other bitches' man's dick, you was doing what you was doing. You understand what I'm saying? I'm gonna give you the opportunity to say it. But the worst things that they could say about you, if you did it, so fucking what? Niggas is out here dying at the hands of white people, and you sitting here, there are actually Black folk who are not for us kinfolk. I look at you and I've known you for years. I don't stand for you. I see the work you do. Do it come without being dirty? Do it come without being messy? Do it come without clean hands? Probably not. White people don't fight fair. Why should we? But I'm not gonna let nobody sit here and play you. So as soon as I get to my comment section, it's gonna be a whole bunch of deleting. You call it silencing Black voices, whatever, but we don't hold Black women to the standard that we hold white people, pedophiles, rapists. You can get the fuck off my page with that. I'm not here for it. So I'm gonna take a deep breath, because that's something I needed to get off my chest. It's something it keeps being brought to me. Every single time I bring a Black person on my page to do this show, this is episode number 44, I got 5 other motherfuckers in my inbox talking about why that person's problematic. It's disgusting and it needs to stop. Go on, baby.
Ooh, that was heavy. I'm not gonna even, I'm gonna keep doing like I've been doing and not give any energy to it.
Can I say one more thing?
Yeah.
Full transparency. The nigga who's commenting has caused harm. Full transparency. You can't be a human being and not cause harm. You cause harm. I've caused harm. We have all caused harm. Now that shit's on the table, most harm, that's exactly what I want. Give me that liquor right now, please. Most harm goes unresolved even when attempts at accountability are made. So it don't matter. You could have a sit down with all the niggas who had an issue with you, but they want accountability the way that they want it, but they refuse to be in a community with you until they get what they want. That's prison to me. Y'all running an internet prison. Fuck Facebook jail. Y'all got your own prison coop. What I wanted to know is, what about those who have harmed you? And what about those you've harmed? Do they have a right to object to your liberation work?
And everybody's got a right to do whatever they want to. And I have the right to respond to it however I want to. My choice is to not let folks, I'm not giving them my energy. I'm here to do work. I tell people who I am off the top. I've always been that way. I am who I am. Like I said before, I'm very direct, I'm very blunt. If I make mistakes, somebody tell me what that mistake is. If I love you, I'm probably gonna listen to you quicker. If I feel like you're coming for me, then I'm probably not going to listen to you at all. But I'm here to do this work and be a resource to my community and be effective as possible. And that's it.
I don't want that one no more. I want this one. Thank you. I appreciate you saying that. And the reason why I appreciate you saying that is because, you know, niggas talk about missing allocations or whatever. And Shaun King is the biggest fucking grifter I think that there is. You know, hold that nigga accountable. Niggas will fight you over Shaun King, but you fight them over a Black woman. You're harming the victims of who she harmed. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, get out of here. Get out of my inbox. So I just appreciate you saying that, because you and I have had this conversation before publicly, because I don't believe in holding stuff in private sometimes. I'll call you and check on you. The niggas who literally be like, I'm an abolitionist, don't defund the cops, abolish cops, abolish ICE. They the same people like, let me still tell you the shit from a year ago that happened. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's wild. It's like compounded trauma that you got to keep doing it. So you and I talk about accountability a lot. What does accountability look like? We're trying to hold these cops accountable. We're holding politicians accountable. We holding white allies accountable, right? You got the allies of BLM Sacramento. What does it look like? Could you hold me accountable? Could I hold you accountable? Like, what does that look like?
We had this conversation, and actually, like, what you said is what I think about when I think about this, is that if we're talking about abolition work and we're talking about like tearing the system down, then we can't emulate it, right? So we can't, there is no prisons, there is no, you know what I mean? And I'm speaking very metaphorically when I say this. There are no prisons, there is no government way of doing things. Like, we do things differently. And I'm not an expert on like restorative and transformative health and justice and all that. I'm not an expert on those things. But I do understand that it's supposed to be attacking the root of the problem so that it doesn't happen again, and doing it in a way where we're healing instead of like continuing to harm. And so that's what I expect. I expect to try to do that in whatever way possible. And I know that there's experts on that and they could probably guide me in that, but that's how I look at being accountable, is actually owning whatever it is that went wrong, having the conversation, talking about it, finding out what somebody wants from you, and either rolling with them or not rolling with them. Either continuing to do what you say that you're gonna do, or say, okay, I fucked up and I'm not gonna do this no more. And then try to have a healthy relationship with that person. Or you can just agree to disagree and not move forward with that person anymore. But I think it looks like a variety of ways, but it shouldn't look like what we're fighting.
It shouldn't look like this.
Mm-mm.
So I appreciate it. And it's funny that you say that you're what'd you say? You said you're not an expert. You gotta be an expert. You're in community with so many people that do love on you. So many people who would see you doing something wrong and tell you about it, and that don't discard you. Like, you know what I'm saying? And so you do know. With that, I'll say that I have plenty of restorative justice sessions underneath my belt, and not even I know. Not even the niggas that have trained me know. You know, when new situations come up, they're like, oh, well, that there is a doozy. How do we actually deal with a rape in one of the cases I worked on, an actual rape, and where the woman did not want to press charges but wanted him held accountable? Like, how do we deal with stuff like that? You know, like that this person is a beloved member of the community, and you know, she also is like, I still need to be in community with this person because of all the work that's attached to it. Like, when there's complex, I didn't fucking agree with it, and I was in charge of the shit. I was like, what? Like, send that nigga to jail. Like, I was so bad about it. Like, I was like, what is y'all talking about? Like, you know, but it's what the community wanted, right? And so, like, how do we meet community at where it's at? And then what to do about the compoundedness of when you were part of multiple communities. So I'm supposed to stop organizing with y'all because we had this issue on this intersection, but my work is intersectional, like, you know, and it has many different intersections. So thank you for that. You know, I know it's a tough subject. And again, like Daisy October said, they the babies. They could throw a block at you. They could go ahead and throw a punch, a slap, a kick at you. but you can't turn around and punch no baby in the face because you know your power. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know your power. So let them just be babies, because all they doing for years is wah, wah, wah. Tanya's a horrible person. Wah, wah, wah. Tanya got victims. Wow. You know how many victims I got? I probably have more victims than I got bodies, for real. Like, yeah, at this point, everybody got a claim, you know? And like I said, it's not just relegated to the Black women in this space right here. It's also relegated to other people I've had on my show. You don't know. I get the inboxes all the time. Oh, you have sis on your show? Well, let me tell you. And it'd be several people. I'm like, when are we going to stop doing this? Do me a favor. Don't send me no screenshots, no text messages, unless it's about my money. Like, don't tell me nothing. Like, you know?
Some of the people talking too, they worked in the Capitol, so they move like that. Like, they move cutthroat like that. And so to me, that's not community. That's more of the systemic problem. So yeah.
And I appreciate you saying not give energy to it, because that's basically what I was told to do, but not just Daisy, several other people who are like, I want to see you win. And not sure if they want to see me win or not, because they just be on some shady shit any other time, but come sit down with me. I'm talking to my friend Tanya. So this is my other best friend, Crystal. So I wanted to ask you, do you see yourself as more of a writer or more of a public speaker?
A writer or public speaker?
Yeah, like, do you feel like your skill set is writing, or is it public speaking? I see you on the bullhorn.
I do. I like to write when I feel like writing, but I don't like to write. And then when I do write, I can do it, right? Oh, that was that sounded like a poem.
It's a poem. It's a poem.
And I do write poetry, but not that often. I have to be inspired, and I'm not that often inspired. I've been more inspired by this work than anything else when I have written poetry lately. But as far as speaking, I don't like to say I'm a public speaker. I actually tell people I don't like to public speak, but if I need to speak, I'll speak, and I can speak publicly. I'm not bad at that. I don't like people staring at me. Honestly, like while I'm talking, just looking straight at me like that, I don't like it. It makes me uncomfortable. So
that's valid. If you ever want to invite me to be a speaker, let me know.
Okay.
I love being voyeured. So.
You're a good speaker too. My words are too direct. Like, I'm not, like, some people are very Martin Luther King-esque. Like, they're very, they could preach, and I'm not that person. I'm just gonna be like, when I get angry, I say shit. I'll be like, you know what we need to do? We need to go to the police station right now. Like, that's me. But,
so tell me about Sacramento, because I don't know much about it. Don't they call it Blackramento?
No.
They don't call it Blackramento?
13% Black.
13% Black. Could you start calling it Blackramento and see if it catches on?
People call it that. They call it Blackramento, Macramento.
Because I think what it is that the reason, it might only be 13% Black population. Maybe it hasn't caught on because y'all haven't found like a dope enough word. So I came up with some things. What about Click-Clackramento? What about Smackramento?
Smackramento is tight.
Yo, everyone needs their own Smackavelli, so why not a Smackramento too? Bitch, I'll smack you.
I believe in that shit. I believe in it. I like hood shit. I love hood shit.
Yes, everyone needs their own Smackavelli. So I can't believe I just quoted fucking For the People on national television. How are you holding community meetings now during COVID?
We're not. I mean, we've been going out to actions, and we urge people to wear masks, and if they don't have them, we bring them. And we try to stay away from each other, but that usually doesn't work. And then that's just like with our big actions. As far as like meetings that we have that are just with our group, we do everything on Zoom.
Okay.
Except for our security meetings, we meet
right.
in a very secure place.
No, that's valid. Hi, baby. So I wanted to ask you another question. Because I'm scandalous. Who would I be if I wasn't a complicated person? You're like, oh, bitch, do not ask me no fucking scandalous. I see your eyes. You light skin. It went against the backdrop very quickly. Okay. I wanted to ask you, do you feel the Black Lives Matter chapter should dissolve and take on new names and labels as the movement grows and changes? Or are the chapters going to be BLM forever? And I'm asking you as the co-founder of Black Lives Matter Cambridge.
So I look at it from two perspectives, like there's two angles. So one of them is that the world knows what Black Lives Matter is. So they know it's got name recognition. And that's so
Mhm.
important when you're doing this work. Because when we were Insight, we did not get the same membership enthusiasm, crowds, none of that until we became Black Lives Matter. So that has a certain thing that makes it work. Okay, now I'm gonna be very cautious in my next words.
I hate this. Go ahead. Because it's that's what I'm saying. That's that nonprofit industrialization complex shit where you got to be like, and so protect the integrity and also the funds being dispersed. I have to be polite.
No, I'm not. It's not because of that. It's because I don't want to be harsh.
Okay.
I think that I think we learn from our mistakes. I think mistakes are made, we learn from them, and then we keep going. And I think that when you do that, you're acknowledging mistakes. But if you don't acknowledge the mistakes, then there's no fixing the root of the problem. Like, I feel like the movement has made mistakes, like every other movement has made mistakes. And I think that there's no structures put in place or no support systems put in place around how we go, like how we move, like how do we process these things? What do we do? How do we make sure that everybody feels good, like they're being tended to? Like, those things aren't put in place. When we first started as a chapter, there was nothing. Like, I was like, okay, structure, what does our structure look like?
Right,
I didn't
what does that look like?
Chapters, and was like, what's your structure look like? What's your structure? And all of them had structures they made on their own that were different from each other. So we just had leads, and then we had our group, and then we had teams within it, like, comms team, policy team, all the things that we work on, education. And it works, right, for a little bit. And then when we get to 29 members, we got to change our structure. We don't know how to do that.
Right.
And then we're not getting the financial support that we need. And so I've literally learned how to do all this stuff on my own, just by doing it and making mistakes, and then keeping it going and learning from my mistakes. And I networked my ass off. And I feel like I did that. I did it successfully, right? But I think that that's what, I don't feel like nobody that goes into an organization that is so large and well known and that has so many resources available to it should have to do that. We should be, and so I know at some point in time I was looking at creating another group and making it have different cities and states and chapters or whatever, but I really wanted to, like, I really was very intentional. I want to do so much different than how I learned. Right. I want people to have what they need. So I don't know if I'm going to still do that, but I'm tired. But yeah, I think that that's where, I don't know. I think we should keep the name, but we should do better.
I feel like that needs to go on a t-shirt right next on the back of the Black Lives Matter t-shirts. We should keep our name but do better. So I'm glad that you said that, because a lot of people have asked me why I haven't archived Black Lives Matter Cambridge. I'm like, are you nuts? Are you wild? And I'm saying, as a person with borderline personality disorder, that's the nuttiest shit I've ever heard. Why the fuck would I archive my work to make you feel comfortable?
Right.
Why would I archive?
Somebody told us we need to demolish our chapter. I was like, demolish? You're using the same language that we use.
So you think I'm the feds, bitch?
Right.
What we not gonna do is that. And so that's how I have always felt about it, because you're talking about something that was started from the ground up. I mean, I ran away from Black Lives Matter Cambridge, was at the first planning meeting for it. And people will say it's ego. And I'm like, no, it's preservation. And ego is not a negative thing anyways. And if I feel like I have an ego about it, it's because it's preservation. Niggas literally had action after action after action after action under the name of, we don't stop listening to Jodeci just because it happened some fucking 13 years ago. Like, you know what I'm saying? Right. Like, I really need people to get familiar with me, because I'm not the one. I've never been the one. I've never purported myself to be the one. And so, I appreciate all of that. If there was one other thing I had to say. Oh, so where I live, there's a Black Lives Matter. Me and Egypt went to DC this weekend or whatever, and we went to go visit it because there's just like a beat about DC that's changing and it's evolving. And I had Preston Mitchum on, and he was saying the same thing. It's like policy, yeah, but now it's more organizing, right? And how do we support the organizers? And I thought that was beautiful, coming from a Black attorney. Mm-hmm. So now that Black Lives Matter Plaza exists on Waze, I found it by typing in Black Lives Matter Plaza. I don't know if they're doing that in Sacramento, but how do you feel about seeing all these photos nationwide with the BLM painting on the streets to stop us from knocking down statues and looting. Did I say that? Did I ask that question?
So like, I think I mean, if I see that J Street in Sacramento is now turned to Black Lives Matter Sacramento Street or Black Lives Matter Street, I'm gonna be touched by it, right? But at the same time, like, why you wait till now to make these changes, and then why aren't you doing more? I talked to someone in the media today about this. Like, all of that is very performative, the words that we use. But yeah, it's very performative. And our mayor, he went to a Black church in my Black neighborhood, Oak Park, and marched with Black people, and then took a knee with the chief. And it's like, bro, we've been crying and screaming and going to you for years, telling you to change the things that you're doing in our city, and they're killing us, right? You haven't done nothing, then you're gonna go kneel and act like you did something, and so that people can take a picture of you. I just
right.
I don't appreciate it. I don't appreciate it.
I appreciate that. I'm dropping some money in your PayPal right now.
Thank you.
Of course, you ain't gotta thank me. The fuck? What you think I get paid for? To sit on TV? They're like, bring the hottest organizers to your show. I'm like, all right. So I'm gonna send you some shmoney. I really appreciate like the very complex things that we spoke about. I mean, I think about how you don't take your coffee black after all, but then I also think about some of the important topics that you discussed. And I want to ask you, like, is there time? I know you feel like you don't have time, right? But is there time for love? And I'm asking for a friend.
Yeah, you make time.
Oh, okay.
I do. I make time. And it's part of the debriefing, like after an event, like that's, you know what I mean? Like it's part of the healing that you need in your life when you do this work. So yeah, definitely.
I appreciate you saying that. My second last question is, how do you sustain that love? Like, a lot of times people trauma bond because of movement work, and so how do you like rise above that and engage in love of not just that person, but like yourself? Like, what does that look like for you to be like, oh, okay, well, this is a definite boundary for me?
I think I'm gonna sound so like cliche, but I communicate. Like, you have to communicate. You have to hold conversations that are uncomfortable. I don't have relationships with people. Like, I was with somebody for a really long time, and he was very passive, and I'm very confrontational, and I need a confrontational person in my life. So I feel like that being with people that are willing to face things head on. And I think when you do this work, or if you fuck with somebody that does this work, then that's what you get, because we're all out there doing this. And that's been what I've needed in my life at this point. My like in this city, there's like, when you do this work, it's very, your list of opportunities for the opposite sex or whoever it is that you are interested in, it gets very short, because you got so much hotepery, you got so much like people don't, a lot of like, I'm a cis hetero female, so a lot of Black men in my city, they don't like me because I've been effective in some way, or they're very hotepish, or they're
you better talk about how effective you be, and people be like, how does she do it? I want to be. Let me tell you something.
Some people don't love trans women, and I can't be with people that don't have the same foundation.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I can't, that's damn near nobody except for like maybe like this many people, like, you know what I mean? So
right. It just lowers your dating pool.
Right, exactly. That's the language I'm looking for, the dating pool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I felt what you were saying.
When you get it, you keep it, you hold on to it, you cherish it, you treat it like it's love, like what you think love is. And I guess with us, love looks a certain way. You know what I mean? So,
I rolled my eyes because my best friend saying, "See, bitch, love looks a certain way. You just gotta push past it." Because I'm in love right now, but also I'm so traumatized. I'm probably gonna sabotage it. It's perfectly fine. Everything is fine here. Everything is fine here. I know that every Black person I know has had a bad experience with the police. The one and only time, aside from the time that I called the cops on my stepfather because he beat my mother, and they came and arrested my mother, the only time I ever had an interaction with police, I I was sleeping and someone broke into my home while I was sleeping and stole like my laptop and this, that, and the third or whatever. And I called the cops and they were just like, what do you think it is? CSI? Because I was like, well, clearly in order for the gentleman to break in, I know it was a man because I felt like his breath on me. Like, I was like, in order for him to have broken in, that garbage can, it was like, you know, like the city garbage cans, the like the wide ones, was pushed underneath my window. And I was like, this is like, I was 22. I had my first project apartment and pushed underneath the window. I was like, so they had to have touched the garbage can and then they had to have touched my windowsill at any point to open it. You can't dust for fingerprints. Like, what do you think, this CSI? Totally the worst experience of my life. And I was in my first year of college when that shit happened to me. That was the last time I called the cops. This is before abolition. I fucking can't stand cops. And I'm coming from a family where a lot of the people in my family are special ops. So like, I can't stand cops. I love my uncle. And when he's in his uniform and he has that mentality, I don't like it.
Yeah, I had a lot of bad experiences with police even before I started doing this work. And then after, they just like bubbled. I got a lot of bad experiences now, but I mean, I'm from Sacramento, California. So like, we used to have sideshows out here. We still do, but they look way different than they do now, or they did back then. They were more Black back then. But we had sideshows out here all the time, and I used to go to them, and that's where everybody does donuts and things like that. And it's usually after the club gets out, and it's real hood shit. But the police would come and talk really bad to you. I've had my car pulled over for no reason. They've gone through my purse. I didn't know my rights. I've been frisked by a male cop when I didn't know that he wasn't supposed to frisk me, and then he made comments about my ass. Like, I've had a lot of bad experiences from police, and I've never cared for them. And it's always, nobody could have ever told me nothing different. And so, and then there's a lot of people that I loved like all my life that got fucked with really bad by the police, you know, cuffed, and like, or people that are institutionalized for minor things. And now that I'm more woke and know about this stuff, like, that's what has inspired me. Honestly, like, that's what inspires this work, is my hood folks. Like, a lot of people are like, well, I'm inspired because of, you know, a certain group of people. I center hood folks like a lot because they get fucked with the most in my city. And so they're who inspires me to do this work. That's who I
White
like to
people
build.
who are watching, when Tanya is saying hood folks, she's talking about the underserved youth that you talk about in your fucking board meetings.
I always say the people in the crevices of our communities that don't get any type of support from even nonprofits that claim to be getting money to help out the people in those communities. So those are the people that I talk about, and that's who I lift, and that's who I build with. That's who I try to build with. And it's hard because, you know, people are abused. They're abused people, and they don't trust shit. And so you got to build those relationships, and it takes a long time, but they have to trust you to fuck with you. And so I work at that, and I'm loyal to it.
What, you know, I'm wondering, like, what does your workload when it comes to people asking you to speak? I feel like sometimes as a bitch who got a ratchet ass mouth, you know, I was listening to Toxic. There's a song called Toxic that I absolutely love because I'm like, it's me, bitches. Right. And so what does it look like to try to get work in a field where everyone seems to be like, you know, it's anti-racism work and it's profitable to a degree? What does it look like to not be able to make a profit because of your mouth?
So after an incident happened in our group, and like, I had to like rebuild stuff. And there was a time when I was like, it was a time I was super broke, super duper broke, trying to find a job, trying to find anything that I could do. At first I was like, I want to do community work. I want to get paid to work in the community because I don't want to leave this work. Right. And so I couldn't find that. And then you've got all these people that you've built relationships with, and it's all lip service. Like, when you need a job, there's nobody available. And it just, it got really bad, and I still cannot find a job. I can't, everybody knows who I am. When I go places, people be like, oh, you're that. But like, right. Nobody, I have to be hidden somewhere to work. And I definitely can't work, like, I can't work over a counter or nothing like that, because the police will come fuck with me. People that don't like me will come fuck with me. Like, I have to be very selective in the work that I do. It's like you're famous, but you're not getting famous money.
You have a social media presence, but you don't have the social capital that right. comes with it. It doesn't relate to financial gain, like, you know.
Somebody that I know has their own company and it's computers, and I'm real techie, and so I was like, I want to work at your company if you are able to, like, if it gets big enough to where you can hire somebody, hire me. He's like, you don't need to be working at no job. You need to, I'm like, bruh, then how are my bills going to get paid? Because right now it's a struggle. And then everything I do, it has to be off the grid. Like my house isn't in my name and my bills aren't in my name. So I have to do everything and make sure that I stay on top of stuff. So it's hard. It's really hard.
Yeah. This is the first year. Excuse me, I ain't got the Rona. I've been sucking dick. And my throat is a little raw. So there's like, this is the first year that my lease has been in my name. It's not because of my credit. It's because I lived here long enough that the nigga was like, I mean, I knew this white lady didn't live with you the whole time, so you can be on the lease here. And isn't that fucked up? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, if I'm grifted, like, where is it going, baby? Like, you know what I'm saying? So there's that. And it's like, I don't know, I think about you and I think about like having to hate using the word resilience to describe you, because Harriet Tubman was described as the most resilient woman of the Underground Railroad, like, and so it's like, how long have Black femmes needed to be resilient? How long do we keep continuing to be a community container for everyone? And yet when we're around one another, it's really hard for us to be soothing and calming for one another, because we're like, oh no, I know, bitch, you a container too, just like me. We still, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I just want us to be tender. So my second to last question for you, Tanya, is what does healing look like? And are you like on that journey?
I don't really, honestly, like for a while I was like, healing for me is a couple of things, or what I've seen, and it's always, and it seems like the things that heal me are not easily attainable. So like when I go to the beach for a whole week, like not 5 days, but 7 days, when I'm at the ocean for like a whole week in Florida or somewhere that has tropical water, then that heals me. It gives me a really good break. Hot baths give me a temporary healing, hitting these streets heals the fuck out of me. Getting what we want, like getting some kind of change, getting a win, that is healing for me. So, I mean, those are the things that heal me. But then I do things like, I'll smoke when I go to bed. I take hot baths. I like the sun. I lay in the sun. Garden now. I try to plant my own fruits and vegetables.
I gotta water mine. Bitch, I've just been not in the house. So thank you. Thank you for the reminder.
You're welcome.
You're so beautiful.
Oh, thank you. You're beautiful too, even with your clips in your hair.
Thank you. I had chocolate milk today, so I feel really, really wholesome. Thank you. So I'm already high. So anyways, the last question I want to ask you is something that I ask all of my guests because I feel it. I feel it settling in my soul. So it's nice to know those edibles work within the hour. Thank you. Something is the last question I want to ask you. It's something I ask each one of my guests. It's a two-pronged question because clearly I'm a bitch of multifaceted. And the first question is there anything that I didn't talk to you about? Because we don't plan the show. We don't plan the show. I literally jot down topics that I'm thinking to talk to you about, but it's not like I contact you and be like, here's a list of the questions, So is there anything that I didn't ask you about that you were like, oh shit, I want to like let her followers know? Or is there something that you want to bring to the forefront? And then the second part of the question is, who would you like to see on the show?
Okay. So I always have my spiel for like usually media of what I want to tell them that they haven't asked me. I don't know, I guess just about my city. Our city is very, very, it's like people think California and they think liberal and they think progressive and they think it's not racist, but like the racism that liberals have in the city is very different, but it is very real and it's very damaging. Yeah, I mean, we're fighting for 14 people that have been killed. I want to say their names if I can.
Go ahead, bro.
Adrian Lett is the first person. He was killed by Sacramento Sheriff Department. And then it was Dejan Fleno, who was killed by SAC PD. And then Joseph Mann, who was killed by SAC PD. And Jason King, who was killed by California Highway Patrol. And that's 2016. 2017, we had Lorenzo Cruz killed by Rockland Police Department. We had Desmond Phillips, who was beaten by SAC PD and got a head injury so bad that he had seizures for the rest of his life. His dad took him out of Sacramento and moved him to Chico to get away from police violence, and he was murdered after he had a seizure in Chico by Chico police. Ryan Ellis, he was killed by the Sacramento Sheriff Department. They said that he lunged out of a window while he was cuffed in the backseat of a car, which doesn't make sense. It's not possible while you're cuffed to be able to lunge out of a moving car window. Michael McIntyre, he was executed by the Sacramento Sheriff Department, and that was 2017. 2018 is Stephon Clark. After him was Brandon Smith, and then Daryl Richards, who was only 19, and then Marshall Miles. And so that's who we've been fighting for. And I just want to bring that to light, because a lot of people don't know that about Sacramento. We are a really big hub of police murder.
Thank you for sharing that, because I follow you and I didn't know that it was that many individuals.
And that's not even naming the ones, like we got a pregnant woman that was thrown on her belly when she was 7 months pregnant. Then they yelled, "Wrong house," and they left. We got people that are terrorized on a regular basis by specific officers. We got all kinds of people that we're fighting for. So it's a lot.
Thank you. Thank you very much for that. And who would you like to see on the show? You don't have to like them, Tanya.
Kef Poe.
I'm not inviting my nigga to the show.
I can't think of any. I'm trying to think of who really, really like. You said I don't have to like them? Is that what you said?
Bitch, I gave you the feeling from my own heart.
I don't want to see nobody on this show that I don't like. That's hilarious. I don't know. Somebody, I mean, I don't, maybe, and I haven't.
There's a question real quick before you tell me. Yeah. Regina said, how many names did you name?
I think it's 14.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Name? Okay. Just, I don't know. I've been really I guess you know what else is healing? Is spirituality. Spirituality.
I wanted you to talk about it, but I didn't know if you was a Christian on the inside.
No, I'm not a Christian. I'm the daughter of Oya. So I've been learning a lot about that. I don't know how much I want to dive into anything that somebody taught somebody else, but I know that, you know what I mean? I believe that there's something, but I'm an agnostic. So I believe that we just don't know all the answers. We don't use our whole brain. There's a lot that we need to learn, and there's a lot that we don't know. We're just humans. So,
right.
But yeah, I don't know. You already had someone that was spiritual on here, but
I have a lot more spiritualistas coming up. You don't even know, because that's my jam. I've never used that in a sentence before today. But spirituality, African traditional spirituality, that's my jam. I was a crusader. I mean, Tuesday Bible study, Wednesday children's choir, Thursday youth service, Saturday elderly skate and vacation Bible school for the same week, and then church, you know what I'm saying, on Sunday. And so you can't get me uncolonized quickly enough, baby. When I found out where we came from, and I've been on this journey I'm such a baby though. If I was to tell you half the stuff that I'm involved in, but when you say that you really out here respecting Oya, I was grateful to hear it. I feel like Olodumare has been blessing me. You know what I'm saying? All these conversations that have been coming my way have been affirmations that I'm on the right path, even though I'd be scared, because of what I feel and what I know, So thank you for that. You didn't even know that you was going to say something that I would be appreciative of. Thank you.
Ever since I put my altar next to my desk where I do my work, it's doubled. So, yeah, I went to, first kindergarten, first grade, I was in public school. Second grade, I went to Lutheran school. Third and fourth grade, I went to Catholic school. Fifth grade, I went to Christian school, and then public school after that all the way through. My mom was a Jehovah's Witness. I never got baptized, so I had to go to the Kingdom Hall on Tuesdays, Thursdays, Sundays, go out in service and knock on people's doors, and I hated that shit. I hated it so much. It turned me off of religion. But then I just don't think that, I don't think we know all the things. I think we got to quit acting like we know what everybody needs to do and just absorb whatever it is. Oh, you know what? You need to go sleep. You need to go lay down.
I need some head. That's what I need. I'll be less nervous with the arm, the flick of the wrist, if I just get that taken care of. So you still didn't tell me. I'm like, it came with a little dribble. So you still didn't tell me. You so nasty. You didn't tell me who you'd like to see on the show. All these people that we know.
I can't think of an individual. Just somebody spiritual, someone that has lots of knowledge in spirituality that can teach me something that I don't know about our ancestors, about our deities. Like, I want to know more that I don't know. So that's what I want to see.
It's very interesting you say that, and I'm going to tell you why it's interesting on top of interesting. On 6/20, which I think is like the week after next week. Yes, Friday. We have Funlayo Woods Menzies coming, and I think that you will really enjoy the show. Also, on 6/15, which is next Monday, we have Angel the Healer coming. They are an amazing hoodoo spiritualist, and it's all love every time I speak to this person. So, I mean, we got a couple of them on here. So, and I do plan on inviting more people. So thank you for that recommendation. I appreciate it. Tanya, I love you.
I love you too.
No, I love you. And I hope, no, I love you. And I hope that you have an excellent evening. This has been another episode of The Full Set. And I hope y'all have a good night.
All right. Thank you.
Peace.